I'm Gab, he's Jules. Blue skies, or maybe not, maybe it's more grayish skies over West London, but not over North London, because Tottenham Hotspur come from 2 goals down against Manchester City. That's going to be our main thing. That's not the only thing that's going on. Of course, Real Madrid booed before, during, and after, and all the way into the showers, despite winning. Bayern Munich dropping points. How about that? Liverpool, Atletico, convincing. And of course, Arsenal just keep on rolling. But let's start at the Tottenham Stadium.
Yeah.
I was watching this on television. I was not there. Even the commentators talked about how weird the atmosphere was, how down the Tottenham fans were throughout the first half, even before they went to go down.
Yeah.
And then they go 2 goals down. And then you figure, okay, this is it, right? There's no way you let a 2-goal lead slip. Certainly not against this team.
Yeah.
Then at halftime, Romero goes off. I don't know if he was injured or he was on the naughty step or whatever. Didn't seem like it, you said. All of a sudden, it's a back 4 with Palhinha next to Manba and Dragusin. And to be fair to Spurs, they have 1 billion players out.
Yeah, and Gray right back as well.
And Gray, and you just say this is over. This ain't going to happen, right?
Although, we've seen Spurs being really average or abject even in first halves before, and then reacting really well in second halves against Villa in the Cup, against United in the league, against Fulham in the league as well. And they didn't always win after or even drawn after. But I think this is what they've done. This game sums up really well the season. They're not very good, this Spurs team. I don't think Frank is the right guy for this team to take them forward anyway. They can't be consistent at all, but at times they either ride their luck a little bit or just get a bit more energy like they need to and a bit more intensity. But for me, this game was just like first half so bad, like we've seen so many times with them this season, and second half better to the point that they still managed somehow because they scored 2 goals over 0.6 xg.
Let's
not forget that. But yeah, it's a good point for them, although it's not enough. 1 point, they're still 14th in the table.
On the flip side, we have to go there. I think this is where at some point somebody, maybe Pep himself, or maybe talk to the other Pep, we have to have a conversation about what's going on with City. Because they may be second in the table, and that's great. They're going to finish the season. They're on pace to finish the season with 74 points. 74 points is the lowest points total since his second season, or since his first season.
When they
didn't
win anything, when he finished third,
right? And he had just arrived. Last year, we said, okay, it's an aberration. It's weird. 4 league defeats in a row, blah, blah, blah. No Rodri. Team needs to be freshened up. Okay, bro. You freshened up the team. And this season, you have injuries. You change things a bit with Pep Linders, whatever. But you still let a 2-goal lead slip. And it should have been a 3-goal lead. In fact, not Vicario, I thought, made a huge save off of Shirky in the first half. And we can get to the incidents. And I'll tell you right now, we'll talk about it later. I don't think the first goal, the gay... I mean, I don't think that should have stood. I think that's a foul.
Yeah, I agree. And Pep agreed.
And I don't even think there's any conversation there. But for a guy who talked about control and so on, and you see him afterwards, and especially the post-game press conferences, it looks like something's wrong. Like something's wrong with him.
Yeah, I think he's probably very unhappy with a lot of things, and maybe the fact that he can't fix this team right now, because there's one step forward sometimes because they can play very well at times and do good things collectively, individually, and then there will be 2 step backs either 10 or 15 minutes later or in the next game if you've got a bit of control in one game, for example. There's no consistency again. It's 1 win in 6 in the Premier League, and nobody seems to say how average this is or how bad this is for Guardiola Man City team, but that's the reality.
I think it's because they're second in the table and everybody wants to have... we want to have a proper title race, right?
But it's a bad season. I've said that so many times. This City are not good. Aston Villa are not good. Brentford are not very good. Spurs are not good. Manchester United are not very good either. The teams are not very good in this league, apart from Arsenal.
And Fulham.
Fulham are okay. But this is not another Barca team from 2009.
It could well be something as simple as that. I think in this game, you learn more about Manchester City than you learn about Tottenham. I've reached a point with Tottenham where 11 players out, chaos, blah, blah, blah. There's no point. And we don't know if Frank's any good now with this group of players or whatever. You kind of, draw a line under it. But it's City, I think, who are far more interesting about what's going wrong here. We're going to break that down more on the Gavin Jules podcast. All right, Jules, I'm going to come out and tell you how I see Frank, and I wrote it today in the musings column. Tottenham there's new people in charge, and I think that's important to know. These are not the people who hired Thomas Frank. They're not wedded to Thomas Frank.
Well, no, they are.
They're what?
Vinay, Johan Lange, they appointed him. They were there when he was...
No, I'm talking about the owners, not the...
Oh, just Daniel Levy. Yeah, but Daniel Levy is the only one not there from the people who were hired him.
Sorry. With all the due respect for Vinay and whatever, right? It was Daniel Levy who made the commitment. Like, if they wanted to say...
They were also part of the process.
Yeah, they're part of the process, but Vinay's the chief executive, right?
Yeah.
It's not his club. He's not...
No, I know, but
he's got a different job. If he wanted to say, like, it's not like I staked my career on, yes, Thomas Frank is the answer, right?
Sure.
It's very easy for them, I think, to go to say, all right, let's try something different, right?
Yeah, I think if they hadn't picked him, they would have sacked him already.
Okay. They have nothing to play for in the league. They're not going to get relegated.
No.
There's no chance. I mean, I'll just come out and say this. And I think it's a weird league. Everybody's dropping points, but they're still far enough from the European places that it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, no.
So I think at this stage, the strategy is accept the fact that the season's done and assess the players as best you can, the guys you have, figure out how they fit, who you like, who you don't like. I mean, and it's not all Frank's fault. It's not Frank's fault necessarily that they have like 11 guys out, right? Every game, people they drop like
they've
flies.
had injuries a lot, yeah.
I feel for him a little bit because now he's saying silly things like, "Oh, look, Solanke being injured is like Holland being injured." I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, but he's been talking rubbish all season long.
There's clearly like I don't know. He's in the mind frame to fix it, and it's again not entirely his fault. I think the strategy has to be do what you can in the Champions League. It is a knockout competition, right? Stuff can happen.
Yeah,
you're through to the round of 16 already. You'll make some money there. You get a good draw. Who knows? Quarterfinal, semifinal. Why not? Right?
No,
but you don't know.
They're not good enough.
Stranger things have happened.
No.
Okay, but all right. But at least try for that because that is the only thing.
You're right. Yeah, try.
That's all you have left, right?
Yeah.
There's no other competitions are going to win this year. Right?
I'm not sure it's acceptable for a club like Tottenham to finish.
No, I'm not suggesting it's acceptable. That's why.
So then why don't you change now? Because he's not going to take you much further than 14th or 15th.
I think the reason you don't change now, and it's a similar point that I made for Manchester United, is the range of coaches. You have to think carefully about who you want next, how he's going to fit with your recruitment strategy, and the range of coaches who are available right now is going to be smaller and it's going to be more difficult, and it's harder to do things quietly than if you give yourself until June. In other words, if you give yourself
but you
more
could do
time,
what United did: have an interim coach until the end of the season, and then at the end of the season, assess your options.
I think the problem with the interim coach is the reason is, first of all, like United, there's a big difference. United have stuff to play for. Spurs do not.
But it doesn't matter. There's clearly something wrong with Thomas Frank. As you mentioned, the atmosphere, the fans are not on board. I'm not sure how much the players are on board. I know it was better in the second half. I'm not really sure they buy into the thing. He can't get them to have that consistency, even in terms of just pure energy and effort. So for me, you're just wasting a bit of time now with him that you don't really need.
But if you get an interim coach, it
would bring more positivity. If it works out like Carrick at United, look at the difference that makes. It would be exactly the same.
Right, but United have something to play for. Spurs do not. That's the difference.
But you just mentioned the Champions League they have to play for.
Right, but I would argue that actually the way Frank plays, when he gets it right, it's probably easier for him in some ways in the Champions League where I can sit and play in the counter and release, play back three if I need to, if my guys are ever fit again. Hope that Vicario makes some miracle saves, hit on the counter, that kind of thing. Like, he's got you that far in the Champions League. At least give him a shot there, right?
Yeah,
keep that narrative going there. On the goal, all right, we both agree on this. We don't need to have a debate. I was surprised that they didn't make Pep Guardiola did a little bit, but I was surprised that there wasn't a bigger outcry because every day of the week the Solanke kicks into Gay's foot,
Yeah,
and you can see that, and you have VAR people reviewing it. What?
I don't know. It's weird because the Benfica goal, the Trubin goal, obviously Bellingham gets the ball off Oresens, and then the referee blew the whistle for Benfica to have the free kick there. I'm not sure who's right, who's wrong. I thought it was a foul.
But of course, it's a foul. You can't kick into if Jules.
Well, no, but-
if you're dribbling with the ball, right, and I come across you, and my leg goes ahead of you,
Yeah.
and you kick into my leg as you're trying to kick the ball, you are fouling me, right?
Yeah, but I'm telling you, Benfica got a free kick when the foul
Right,
was
but it's
never.
fine. But we agree on that. But
But
that,
no,
that can't be overturned.
When Solanke is about to hit the ball, he doesn't know Gay is going to come. He doesn't know that Gay's leg is not. So it's not Solanke hitting Gay. It's Gay put his foot there when Solanke is about to hit the ball. There's nothing. Solanke can't stop his movement.
no,
when
I'm not disputing that.
That's why they didn't give the foul, because they didn't think
But
that it
that's
was
just an
Solanke.
incorrect interpretation of the rules.
Well, no, that's the rule. Like, the rule is that there's nothing Solanke can do to avoid Gehi there, because Gehi put his foot in front of the shooting leg of Solanke.
Right.
Right? That's why they didn't give the foul. VAR looked at the goal.
And VAR made the wrong decision.
I think VAR made the decision about the fact that there's nothing Solanke can do to
That's
avoid
right.
Gehi.
That's
That's
fine.
why the goal was given.
But
Whether we think it's wrong, but clearly the
you
rule
don't-
isn't.
That's not how you referee. You referee on what happens, not whether somebody has an alternative outcome. I don't know. It may feel
Yeah,
weird
I
that
thought
way,
it was
like,
not a goal too.
But all right, back to
What about the Scorpion goal?
now. Giroud was
mean-
better.
Giroud is better, but it's still pretty incredible. And I know that's the only thing he can do and hope for the best.
I mean,
But it's still, wow.
well, you talk about that, right? So if I'm Pep, I'm beaten by a goal that I don't think should stand.
Yeah.
And I'm beating by this guy pulling this out of his backside. Only other real chance of the second half was the Destiny one, where
Yeah.
I have one of the world's highest paid goalkeepers there who gets me out of jail there. But then what?
That's it.
Why? In the second half, I looked at the XG and the XG suggested that City still had chances in the second half.
They had no shots on target though.
I don't remember them. This is the thing. It didn't feel that way.
They had 2 shots and that's it. They stopped playing at halftime. I don't know if it's a lack of fitness. I think there's a lack of leadership for the reaction after the first goal, really, because you knew after the first goal that they were not going to react, and they didn't react. They reacted a little bit after the second goal because they had to go, but even that was very sterile, I thought. But for me, there's clearly a lack of leadership where I'm not sure where he should come from anyway. If it's Haaland, if it's Bernardo.
Gay
if
just
it's
arrived.
Gay
Maybe he
just
could
arrived,
become
is it
one.
Semenyo? I don't know, but neither of them on that game felt like the leaders anyway.
And we didn't mention the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah. and
Surely
Rodri,
Rodri needs to be the lead. I mean, if you talk about this intangible leadership aspect, because it's very obvious to the eyes that City aren't playing well. I don't care how often they
they're
win
not
or
playing
whatever.
well. Yeah.
He can fiddle with the setup, fiddle with the formation. Semenyo more central, supposedly, but I don't think he was, from at least what I could see on
Yeah,
television. Right now, Cherki's getting them out of jail.
Yeah.
Right? That's effectively what's happening. It's weird because last season when they hit the crisis, part of the narrative was Pep has never been in this situation before, so he doesn't know how to react. He's never had his backside kick. And now he did last year.
Yeah.
And he sort of found a way out of it last year. But this year we're back to square one. And I'm wondering, is there something deeper going on?
I think it's the last season, and I wonder if, because he knows it's the last season. I know he's got another year, obviously, on the contract, but I don't think he will be here next season. I really wonder if
do you think he's decided he's not
I think
gonna
he
be
knows,
here?
yeah. I think he knows. And I think, to go back to your point that you made at the start of the show, I think what we see in press conferences, even what we see at times on the touchline, maybe he's a bit telling, and maybe it's just I think I've got nobody told me. I just think he won't be there next season. I would love him to stay because I think he's obviously amazing. I don't think he will be there, but I wonder if there's a bit of his body language that is telling about that, and the fact that not that he doesn't want to be there now, obviously not, because there's still a lot of things to fight for. There's a League Cup final maybe coming up. There's the Champions League. There's still the league. 6 points is not that much of a gap either. Blah blah blah. All of that. I don't know. To me, it looks there's something not right on the pitch, but what he cannot clearly get them to do, and that must frustrate the hell out of him because we know how he is as a coach. And to not find solutions, not finding answers must be really, really annoying for him. But also in his, off the field, in his own communication, I find the sarcasm that he uses every time a bit strange, to be fair. So I don't know. But you're right. There's clearly something not working out.
It was also odd. He missed the pre-match press conference too. He went to Barcelona to accept the prize. I think that was the day before, and he didn't come back in time. I think, which again, it's kind of, I
don't know.
That I'm not suggesting he's checked out, but
no, no, me neither. I would love him to stay there. I just feel there's something. I feel like it won't be there next season.
Yeah, I don't know. This harkens back to when I sat down with Pep more than 20 years ago, when I saw him in Doha when he was still playing. He was thoroughly depressed, and he said there's no place for him in the world of football and players like him anymore. And, this is going to be the end. He's here for the money and that. And then we know that actually he came back and he changed the world of football.
Yeah.
But it did give off that kind of ultra negative vibe.
He can be tormented at times, with all the football and everything he wants to do. If the team is not doing what he wants, you could see on his face. Remember last season, the famous scratches on his head, and how difficult this whole period was. Not just when they hit bad form and the crisis in October, November, December, but also when they lost to Real Madrid in the playoff of the Champions League, the way they did, and all of that. So I don't know. I think this is another tough season, and 2 tough seasons in a row has just never happened. Even one only happened once. 2 in a row, it's difficult, I think.
I wonder too, this whole thing that he does with, changing his number 2s time and again. I don't know. I wonder if the solution isn't bring somebody back who he's worked with before. I have no idea what Juan Malillo is.
Yeah, no.
I do know that other bald guy who was at Chelsea, Enzo Maresca, probably has time in his hands right now.
Yeah, true.
I'm just throwing this stuff out there.
Yeah, no, but I think
this because this is a massive underachievement. And if I move Viana right now, I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is my first year here. This guy's having issues. How do I talk to him? Do I have the authority to get involved?
Yeah, true.
Does Ferran have the authority?
But maybe he also misses Cheeky Begiristain. Maybe Pep doesn't feel like this is the club that he built with them and took to the top of the top of the top of the top. I don't know. Maybe that's part of it as well. Maybe it's also the fact that, I don't know. Imagine this club and this team can't really afford a second season without any trophies. Or maybe it's just the end of this cycle. De Bruyne was left last summer, but Bernardo is going to leave this summer. Guardiola might leave as well, and maybe it would feel like the end of this cycle, and maybe Hugo Viana is already preparing the next one, the next cycle.
Well, I think he really has. Look at all the signings they made in the last 2 years, right?
But maybe going back to assistants, because Fergie changed his number 2s all the time, right? And that worked because I think in a way that just brought more ideas and different methods every time, whereas Wenger kept the same ones throughout the whole career, and maybe that just didn't work out the same way. But maybe part of the problem is that, Kolo Touré, I'm not sure in this conversation, but certainly Pep Linders on what he wants to do, and maybe what the team had been doing before with Guardiola. How do you marry the two? Is that even marriable? I don't know if that's a word. Can you actually mix the Linders philosophy or what he wants to bring to this team and the Guardiola methodology and what he's brought to this team for 10 years? And maybe the fact that they are so vulnerable, unbalanced, not really sure what to do at times, in possession, out of possession, is maybe the result and the consequence of those two kind of different worlds in a way.
That's definitely a theory, because you look at kind of what changed, and that is one of the obvious changes. But, Rodri is now fit, okay?
Yeah.
He may not be sparkling, but he's fit, right?
Yeah.
You look at what's different from last year. Rodri should be a plus. Linders, you assume, should be a plus, right? So I don't know. It's a tough one to figure out. Certainly, it feels like this is one of the worst second place teams that, or one of the. Not going to say worst because they can hit.
No.
They can hit
still got-
incredible
yeah,
highs.
of course.
One of the most underachieving, and I think
Yeah.
that's the part that's really kind of disappointing here. And you keep talking
Inconsistent,
about
yeah.
the bad champions, the bad Premier League. They haven't been good in the Champions League either.
No,
It's
very
been
good, no.
inertia, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyway, we'll see how this
And who
unfolds.
they play at the weekend? Oh, yeah, away at Liverpool on Sunday. So
Yeah.
let's
Just
see
what the
it,
doctor
yeah.
ordered. And thank you, by the way, for not mentioning the 115 charges. Oh, look, I just did. All right, enough, Pep. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gav.
Kylian Mbappe's penalty in the 111th minute of injury time rescues Real Madrid, and they beat Rayo Vallecano 2-1 at home. Jules, they were booed before, during, and after. Never mind the 3 points. This continues to be toxic.
Yeah, and if you were watching on television like us and you felt that it sounded like the music within the stadium was quite loud, louder than usual, it's normal. They put up as much as they could to cover the boos. From
And pay
the
no
crowd.
attention, by the way, to the weirdos dressed in white behind the goal. They're paid to be there, right?
Yeah,
The
well,
grata de animación or whatever. It's the most contrived.
Maybe not paid, but yeah, they work with the club basically. 11th minute of added time, so 101th minute, not 101st minute, not 111th. But
It felt like the 111th.
yeah, I mean, there was 9 minutes of added time that got transformed into 15 minutes of added time in the end. Kylian scoring in the 11th minute of it. They didn't deserve to win. Arbeloa saying, "I'm not." What's that? Gandalf? Is that in the Lords of the Ring? Is that the name of
Gandalf, yeah, I think he's the wizard. I don't know. That's
yeah,
nerd
he said,
stuff.
"I'm not
I know.
Gandalf," as in like I'm not a magician. You know, if they don't want to run, I can't make them run. I mean, there was such
That's a really
lack,
helpful thing to say, by the way.
and there was such a lack of effort. And coming after the Benfica defeat, and for what Mbappe said after the game, and we mentioned it on the show on Thursday, for example, to then go back to this rubbish
Well,
was
he made it. Oh, I'm sorry,
incredible.
but on this one, this is one of the things that really struck me was, okay, Bellingham gets injured early.
Yeah, which
right?
is a blow.
Fine. So you lose a midfielder. And who does he replace him with? Not Dani Ceballos, who's on the bench.
He
Who
came
come
on
on
half
later.
time because he clearly
Right.
realized he made a mistake.
Okay, fine. But you have other midfield. You have Camavinga, who's playing left back,
Yeah.
and you have Fran Garcia, who's on the bench. So
And
you could
Carreras on the bench as well.
what?
And Carreras on the bench as well.
And Carreras and Dani Carvajal, if you prefer Valverde
Yeah, yeah.
midfield. He doesn't do any of that.
Yeah.
And then late in the game, he just keeps chucking on forwards. Gonzalo Garcia. It was like when he was a kid and he would see Real Madrid in the great European nights with Santillana and 10 other guys. I mean, it just made no sense. He looked like a person who has no control of what's going on. Rayo, I thought, look, in the end, you can point to the XGs. Everything we saw in injury time, until that moron, Papi Mendy, I don't know what he's doing with that air kick.
Yeah.
Right, to give away the penalty. Injury time basically consisted of people running at defenders and falling over.
Yeah.
Brahim Diaz did it like 5 times. Kylian did it more than once.
Yeah.
This is just so chaotic and
Yeah, it
so
was just-
horrible to watch.
Yeah, there was
I don't know
nothing.
how he gets out of this.
There was nothing with the ball. I don't know how you improve, where you go from here. I don't know. I know he doesn't have the time to work really because they've played every 3 days since he took over because they also had the Copa del Rey disaster and all of that. But
Well, that's not a problem now.
We know,
So now
yeah.
you're on the training pitch for a whole week.
yeah,
Next time you come out, I want to see something serious. And you know what? All those people say Bellingham was a problem. Bellingham's a problem. Yeah, now you don't have the Bellingham problem,
Yeah.
right? Sort it out.
Yeah. Arsenal rolled to a 4-0 win away at Leeds United as Noni Madueke, who wasn't supposed to start, stepped in for Bukayo Saka and steal the show, Gab.
Hey, I said it at the time. The Nani Madueke transfer didn't make sense to me. But now I see, I'll hold my hand up, games like this, it makes sense. I think in the end, although nobody at Arsenal would admit it, obviously, is that the reason they signed Madueke isn't just because he can also play on the left, which is what they briefed. But hey, you know what? They already had 2 guys on the left, and he's so much better on the right.
Yeah.
I think it was also to get insurance, get an expensive insurance policy for Bukayo Saka, and also give them leverage over his contract negotiation. Remember, he only extended his contract this January.
Yeah, yeah.
Now that's done, I think he's a fantastic addition. It allows you to manage Saka's minutes long term. I mean, he's 6 months. Saka is 6 months older than him. I don't know if he's going to want to stick around long term.
Yeah.
But cross that bridge when you get to it. Bayern drop points in consecutive Bundesliga games for the first time in 10 months as they draw 2-2 with Hamburg. Jules, is it just another blip? That's fine.
I don't know if it's normal or natural to drop more points like that away. Okay, away Hamburg, a team with a lot of intensity. That, to be fair, are not at the level of Bayern. I haven't been all
Yeah,
season
they
long.
parked the
But
bus.
if you make it a battle like that and concede 2.6 xg or 2.5 xg against a team like Hamburg, there's a problem.
One's a
problem in your
Fugazi
team.
penalty, though.
It
That was
doesn't
never a
matter.
penalty.
It will still be high of xg. I think that second half, from a Bayern point of view, is not acceptable. But Vinny talked about the referee and everything like that instead of talking about the performance of his own team. So I'm not sure I really understood.
Just give Leonard Carl some time off.
A lot of them, I think, need time off. Juventus rolled to a 4-1 win away to Parma and move into fourth place. Gab, 4.14 expected goals for Luciano Spalletti's team.
Okay, occasionally you have this. Juve don't have this very often. This was the highest expected. The last time, actually, I don't even know. It might have been their highest ever. But the only other time in recorded history that I could find where they got more than 4 was way back in March 2021. I think it was against Spezia or some other band of Muppets during the COVID era. This was a performance and a half. They had the ball all the time, and they went and they tried to create, and this is how you play football, and they did it even after Kenan Yildiz came off injured. This is positive. Again, I hold my hands up. Like 2 of these I was wrong on. Spalletti's doing it. He's making certain players better. Jonathan David, Locatelli, Weston McKennie's ripping it up.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. Jules, we're not done. We have more quick hits.
Yes.
We are blessed. It's nervy early on, but Ugo Kitika and Florian Wirtz turn it around for Liverpool, who beat Newcastle 4-1. Jules, those guys are pretty good.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good playing with each other, linking up together. Again, it's not the first time, but we've said it for weeks now. Their partnership is getting pretty special. This is very much their team now. It's probably Wirtz's team even more than Ekitike and Wirtz's team, and I have got an issue with Mo Salah still starting in this team. I don't really understand why he's there, but this is all about Ekitike and Wirtz. Certainly this win was. The defending from Newcastle, especially on Ekitike's second goal, was very poor to say the least, but together on that kind of form, they're almost unstoppable.
Newcastle running on fumes, I think, again, we saw that. I think the Champions League took a lot out of them. Maybe they're looking ahead to the League Cup or
maybe,
whatnot. But certainly...
It took a long time to bring on Voltemade and Vuisa, for sure.
Harvey Barnes hitting the post early on. But defensive help is underway from Liverpool, but not for a while.
No, until June, because Jeremy Jacquet, the most promising centre-back in the world right now, only 20 years old, is going to join Liverpool.
You called a couple shows ago when he was being linked to Chelsea. You called on that. I said, that is a big statement for a guy who's played a handful of games, Jules.
Yeah, I mean, 30 Ligue 1 games in his career, which is not many. And when you pay 72 million euros, all in all, with the bonuses, it's a lot of money. But this is how good he is, really. And Chelsea would have been very lucky to have him. Now I really think that Liverpool will be very lucky to have him. He chose Liverpool ahead of Chelsea because both clubs agreed the same deal with Rennes. But Rennes didn't want to let him go now. That's the only reason why he's passing his medical right now as we record the show in Liverpool.
Taking his medical
and hoping to pass it. But only will arrive in the summer for the start of next season. Enzo Fernandez hits the late 3-pointer in injury time, and Chelsea come back from 2 goals down to beat West Ham 3-2. Gab, Liam Rossegna said he would have booed his own players at halftime.
Yeah, and I wonder actually if he did, because I was there and there was massive booing from the crowd. The crowd really, really unhappy. I like the fact that Rossegna is owning it. He says, it's on me. I'm making the decisions. They were terrible. Like, I like this honesty from him.
Yeah.
The comeback, you can say it showed spirit, and that's true, and belief, and whatever else. West Ham are not really good. You've got 2 forwards there who literally just arrived and don't look like they know each other. I think it's a lot simpler, though. He started the game with Gittins, Garnacho on the wings, Badiashile, and Jarrell Hato at the back. These players were replaced by Neto, Cucurella, Wesley Fofana, and João Pedro. The 4 guys who came on are substantially better than the 4 guys who started, and West Ham are substantially not good.
Yeah.
So there's a reason they're in the relegation zone. So I think we don't need to overcomplicate this.
No.
I think the players were embarrassed. I thought you had to be honest on this one.
Yeah, but for all the coaching, and we're right, we said he turned the game around with his coaching. These were you and me would have done exactly the same substitutions. Yeah. Anybody in the stadium would have done the same substitution. It was not easy to do, basically. That's all I meant.
And one of the points, there was a brawl at the end. The brawl was started by Adama Traore, who on person, I mean, the guy looks like a refrigerator.
Yeah,
I think
he's just signed for West Ham.
He has spent even more time in the gym while he was wherever he was, right?
Yeah.
He looks terrifying. I mean, he's short, so he's not that scary, but he's like a bowling ball. This whole brawl started with him tossing Cucurella aside. And it was really funny to me watching it. Because Cucurella then stands up, walks about 5 meters away, as like both sets of teams shoving, pushing. In the end, we saw scary Todibo. You said Todibo's very scary.
Yeah, I love
Todibo threatening to coach to choke the life out of João Pedro.
He got really scared by Adama as well. João Pedro got so freaked out.
Okay, can I say something? I don't understand. Why is it that Todibo's the only guy booked? Surely Adama Traore. You're not allowed.
He's the only guy sent off.
But Adama Traore got booked too.
Yeah, and João Pedro.
Hey, Adama Traore should be sent off. It's not permitted in the laws of the game, even if it's Cucurella, who many people don't like, to take him and just chuck him into the air. Like, you're not allowed to do that. Whatever. What's up at Old Trafford, Jules? But Benjamin Sesko's late winner means it's 3 wins on the spin for Michael Carrick.
It is, and everything is still going his way. It was the case against City, the case against Arsenal, and then the case again yesterday on Sunday. Everything going his way and United's way, which is good for them, obviously. But they were a bit fortunate, let's be honest here.
Yeah, a bit fortunate, but the Kevin goal was a worldie. And you'd expect Harry Maguire to make better decisions.
Harry Maguire is not very good. He's just this is the way it is. It's a stupid tackle that he doesn't need to make. But United, I didn't think United were that good, which we expected because the way Fulham were playing. But you find a way. That's it. You find a way. Bruno does really well on that right-hand side. And the Sesko finish, for him who missed the header just before that, he should have scored. The header,
he hit the crossbar.
Yeah, the post. Yeah. The header on the post is easier to score than the goal that he actually scored 10 minutes later or so. But well done to United. They're good. They're on the march.
I want to see Sesko start the next game.
Yeah, let's see. Barcelona beat Elche 3-1 away to stay top of La Liga. But Gab, that only tells part of the story.
It does. I compare Barcelona in my column to a Fabergé egg. Beautiful, but incredibly fragile. Barcelona had 4.56 expected goals at halftime, and they had 2 goals. They hit the woodwork 3 times. Fermin Lopez had like the miss of the millennium. And they only go in 2-1 up, thanks to stupid hijinks again.
Yeah, highline.
And Joan Garcia has to make a huge save. Otherwise, it's 2-2, and then maybe the bottom falls out. Didn't happen. Rashford scrambled home a third. But guys, you need to make your chances count. There's everything. It just looks like the wheels are going to come off at any time. Man, they miss Pedri. Even when they win, they generate so many chances. Paris Saint-Germain go down to 10 men away to Strasbourg as Achraf Hakimi gets sent off. But Nuno Mendes gets the late winner for Luis Enrique.
Yes.
Jules, why did he drop Desiree Doué and Ousmane Dembele?
Not good enough in the last few games. He didn't like it. And that's what happens. You're not good enough. You don't play. He's getting tough.
Okay, I'm sorry. In normal conditions, as I see football, you have to have a belief in your star players.
Yeah.
And you make a big call like this. Actually, I'm curious, what would the reaction have been if Strasbourg had won? And Strasbourg could have won this game.
I mean, Dembele and Doué were not very good when they came on, so it's not like if they changed the games. So.
Okay, but then people then be blaming Luis Enrique after laying
No, I don't think so.
No, it's never his fault.
I don't think so.
No, he won the Champions League.
I mean, what's it got that to do with the Champions League? Nobody says it's his fault or not his fault, but they didn't lose this game. So they've lost games before.
If you lose a game and you drop 2 of your best players, right? In a situation where Kratzke also are.
They're not in good form.
They're not in form, yeah. It's Club World Cup fault again.
I don't know. Nobody said it's the Club World Cup fault. It's just they're not in form. Odegaard is not in form. He's benched. Some other players are not informed in other teams. They're benched. Why would he keep playing them if they're not performing?
Because they don't have a game for another week. And
it doesn't matter. Like, they were not performing. Right. Like, Chevalier was not good in goal. He got replaced by Safonov. We can go on, the list of players that I don't think there was anybody before the game saying, "Oh, that's the wrong team." Why is Dembele not on the pitch? Really?
Okay, I would have been saying that unless there was something wrong with him, unless you can get the right reaction of it, because you can look at it both ways. They had that terrible second half against Newcastle, and you want to give them a shot to get back, and then you have a whole week to prepare for the Marseille game.
Yeah, but that's exactly what's going to happen.
That's what most coaches would have done. Luis Enrique, obviously different from most coaches, but hey, maybe it's normal.
Sure. Inter sell past Cremonese 2-0 to stay top of Serie A. But Gab, that was scary when the firecracker exploded near Emil Laudero.
Yeah, if there's that was like a throwback to the bad old days when of the ultras. To say something positive here about the ultras is the guy who threw the firecracker was immediately apprehended and beaten up before handed over to the police by the ultras themselves. So hopefully they realize stuff like this can't happen. It's dangerous. It's stupid. There's no reason for it. Aston Villa stumble at home to 10-man Brentford. Jules, that disallowed goal, I felt a bit cruel.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Although I think it was the right call. The ball is out. I know there's 19 seconds between when the ball is out and then the goal and when they looked it up again. But that was the right decision.
Why
really
did it take
all
so
for it.
long? If it's so obviously the right
Yeah,
decision.
then I don't understand because we could very clearly see that the ball was definitely out. I mean, even on Madsen's face, you could see that the ball, it's not Madsen, Bailey, sorry. On Bailey's face, you know that he can see the ball is out. Everybody, and Rico's reaction straight away is like, he's miles out. And it then still take them 4 or 5 minutes to rule it. But I know it's a bit cruel because also we've rarely seen those VAR corrected incidents. But I think he's good in this case. Still bad result for Villa and bad performance as well. I hope. Borussia Dortmund are now just 6 points back behind Bayern Munich. They beat Heidenheim 3-2 at home. But Gab, they made life difficult for themselves.
Oh my God. I've been telling you all season long that this is a different Borussia Dortmund. 9! But no, poor Niko Kovac is going to bring stability.
Yeah.
Kovac aged another 10 years in this game because they're 1-0 up. Heidenheim, by the way, for those who don't know, they're the bottom of the Bundesliga, right? Yeah. So it's second versus last place. You're playing under the yellow wall. You're winning 1-0. Everything's easy. Then you give up stupid goals either side of halftime. Yeah. And then it's nervy. And then it's unpleasant. And then, hey, here's Uncle Seru Girassi putting his differences aside. Scores a goal, converts a penalty. Bish, bash, bosh. You're 3-2 up. You're at home. The other guys really stink. Easy. Easy peasy. No. This Ibrahimovic guy, Arion Ibrahimovic, no relation as far as I know.
No relation.
Okay. All right. One is like a wonder strike from a million yards out. Yeah. Fine. Right? And you need a Kobo super save there. The other one, at one point, he takes the ball. He dribbles through 8 guys like he's...
Like he's the real Ibrahimovic.
The real Ibrahimovic didn't even move that fast.
Yeah, true.
And then that other guy, what's his name? Mikkel Kaufman, with the chance. You cannot give up so many chances at the end, and then you celebrate like you won the Champions League. This does not look like a team that's second on the table. Now, all that said, the Klassiker is in Dortmund at the Westfalen Stadion. Win that. It's only 3 points. My problem is I don't see where they're going to make up 3 points anywhere else if they keep playing like this.
No.
Levante hold Atletico Madrid to a scoreless draw as Lucas Barrios, Marcos Llorente, and the only living Sorloth in captivity all go off injured. Diego Simeone has an injury crisis. He's very unhappy with his sporting director, the lovable Matteo Alemani.
Yeah.
But I guess help is on the way in the form of Ademola Lookman.
Yeah, it is. And Marcos Leonardo, I think, might also be coming from Saudi. Lookman, 35 million euros or 40 million euros. I can't remember.
42, I think.
42.
It's 35 rising to 40. Sorry.
Yes. So plus another big investment. I mean, I know it's not as big as what they paid for Julian Alvarez, for example, but it's still big.
Well, they got 22 for Raspadori, who they only had for 6 months. So like that, you know.
Yeah,
and it's the magic of amortization with this wheeling and dealing.
That's right. That's true. Even if Raspadori didn't stay there for long, but I don't know what kind of Lookman we could see there, and if he could fit well in this kind of system and
he keeps rotating anyway.
Yeah. But like, I don't know where if you play him on wide, he can't be on the right because obviously there's Cholos on there, but maybe on the left, maybe up front as a second striker. Maybe that's a good idea. Griezmann is also injured. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, but that was a nightmare afternoon between the draw. That was a poor draw again, a poor performance again, plus all the injuries.
And Alvarez again needs to pull his finger out.
Yeah. Speaking of injuries, Napoli beat Fiorentina 2-1, and Antonio Conte went on an absolute rant again.
Right. So this happened because Giovanni Di Lorenzo, and if you get a chance to watch this, you should see it, right? So he gets injured. Yeah. And Di Lorenzo is the guy who, after Scott McTominay's like a cyborg, right? He's like a machine,
he's
right?
Like a machine.
But Di Lorenzo played the second most minutes because Napoli have an absolute injury crisis. 11 players out right now, and now Di Lorenzo out too. And he basically, what happens is he jumps to contest a cross. He jumps with his arms behind his back as you're taught to do these days. And
Yeah.
because he jumps with his hands behind his back, he's kind of off balance. He lands funny on his knee, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, he did his cruciate." Fortunately, early scans show it's not a cruciate
Yeah.
injury. It's just a bit of a sort of a knee dislocation. So, hopefully he'll be back in a month's time. Conte doesn't know that. He goes in there, and what does he do? He complains about fixture congestion. It's valid to complain about fixture congestion. I don't think fixture congestion necessarily, other than the fact that you play more games, there's more chance of getting an injury, has a lot to do with an injury like this one.
Yeah.
And I said the same thing with the Rodri one. But then he says, and I just want to get your take on this.
Yeah.
This is like, we live in a world where football is no longer a sport. It's
Yeah,
entertainment.
so-
We worship the god of money. I don't understand it. I don't work. I don't coach this team because of money.
Yeah.
I don't need money. I have more than enough money. I
Yeah.
do it out of passion.
Okay.
Out of like the lexicon of stupid things Conte says, this is one of the easiest to unpick,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, especially when he moans that he doesn't have enough recruitment and that the club where he works for doesn't spend enough money to get him the players that he wants and the
You know
team
what?
that
Since
he
you're
wants.
doing it out of passion, Conte,
Yeah.
and you don't need money because you're already rich, and he is very rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you coach for free, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, look,
Isn't he the highest paid manager in the league? By far.
€6 million a year. That's a tidy pay package for
Yeah.
someone, right? To bring in more bodies.
I know, exactly.
Again, you want to talk about this stuff? Have a serious talk about it. Let's have a serious talk with the top players because it really only concerns them.
Yeah.
And let's find a solution. Don't just bring this up when it's convenient because one of your guys gets injured.
Yeah.
It's another Marseille meltdown, Jules. Ilan Kebal's injury time penalty means they drop points away to Paris FC, a game they should have won.
They should have won. They were in control for 79 minutes and then somehow crumbled. And you could, watching it, you knew that if a goal came, then they would be in trouble because they just have that vulnerability about them right now, especially on the back of this incredible nightmarish week that they've had between the Champions League exit. And then this game, Ikone scored to make it 2-1 after a couple of mistakes defensively from Marseille. Ikone, obviously, Paris born and bred, former PSG academy product and player. And then Ilan Kebal, Marseille through and through, born and bred, to score that penalty that takes 2 points away from his favorite team, home team. That's Lyon coming back level with them in the table after they also won. After they won on Sunday against Lille. Just cap a terrible week for De Zerbi and Marseille, who we thought De Zerbi would go. I think he thought about leaving and going. He's still there, but for how long, I don't know.
Are you serious? He's going to throw his because he's going to really damage his rep if he does that.
I know, but I think the trauma of the Bruges defeat and the exit in the Champions League was so big that I think he thought about quitting. In the end, he stays. He said, I can go to war for another 5 or 6 years. Well, okay, let's just start about winning games again and see where
Paris
war is.
FC getting a new center forward.
And Paris FC, to be fair, Ciro Immobile.
Ciro Immobile.
36.
Ciro
I think he played 9
Immobile. Come on, man.
I know, I can't wait to see him there. They obviously beat PSG in the
Cup.
in the French Cup. They drew with Marseille. They beat Monaco away. They have something against big teams, big clubs.
Yeah,
It's
when
good
you
for them.
defend and counter, it sometimes
I know,
works.
but still. Nico Paz misses a penalty and Como can't score despite playing 82 minutes against 10 men Atalanta. Gav, they're human after all.
They are human. You know who's not humans? Marco Carnesecchi. What a
Yeah,
goalkeeper. He's had
incredible.
some downs, but that was a tremendous penalty save. 5.05.
Yeah, they need a number 9 as
expected
well.
goals.
Como, Duvikas is not.
Come on, he scores his goals. Right, look, he's doing a phenomenal job there. For a lot of people are starting not to like Como because of the praise they get.
Yeah.
So there was some Schadenfreude
Yeah.
there. But 2 points drop, which could cost them big time in the hunt for Europe. Let's go to the Chelsea. Let's go to the Women's Super League, Jules. Manchester City demolished Chelsea 5-1.
Yeah.
And the Times report that Sonia Bonpastor, your girl,
Yeah.
her job is under review.
Yeah.
Now, the last time Chelsea let it be known that their coach's job was under review was when they had a bald Italian guy named Enzo Maresca.
Yeah.
And this was on New Year's Eve, by the way. And we know how that ended up.
I know. I wouldn't be surprised if my Sonia doesn't last much longer there. Back-to-back defeats at home against Arsenal, at Stamford Bridge as well, and then away at City, that 5-1 humiliation. And there was not even a debate on how superior this City team was against arguably the best squad in Europe in Chelsea. Terrible. I don't know what's going on exactly. I don't know if she's lost that dressing room a little bit. Maybe there's the Champions League coming up, which is arguably
You follow this more closely than I do. You said Chelsea have the best squad in Europe, not
Yeah, if
world
everybody's
champion
fit.
Arsenal, not Barcelona.
Not far. Barcelona definitely not anymore. It's for me, it's between them and Arsenal. But if everybody's fit, I don't see anybody having a better squad than this Chelsea side. So to be where they are now is disappointing. Absolutely disappointing. They're still the Champions League, and she was brought in to win the Champions League. Last season, she obviously failed. They're still very much in it, but in this kind of form, there's no way they can win the Champions League and be better than Barcelona, City, this version of City, or even Arsenal, or even Lyon. So I don't know.
I'm assuming the holders qualify automatically in the Women's Champions League like they do in the men's.
Yeah.
So is there a risk that they might not qualify via the league?
No, because they still should finish top 3 in the league anyway. Top 3
Right.
go. So I think they'd be fine. But it's more where would they finish? How would they finish the season domestically to start with the WSL? And then what's going to happen in the Champions League? Let's go back to Strasbourg, Gabby, because that was Mamadou Sarr's last game as he's going back to Chelsea with Aaron Anselmino going the other way.
I love the fact we've had Aaron Anselmino references in
know.
consecutive podcasts. Last time
He
you were
would
like,
be chuffed.
why are we talking about him? For anybody who wonders, and you know far more about this, you can correct me on this, about why Strasbourg fans don't like Blue Coat.
Yeah, here you go. Again.
This is it. This is the captain. So after the Emega thing, now this business with Sarr. I have to say, I called it with Sarr. I don't understand why they waited this long, frankly. I know, obviously, they were looking at Jacques and whatever earlier in the window.
Yeah.
But come on. You need a body now.
He's yours. You've loaned him
He's
to
your
Strasbourg,
player.
guys.
You're under a settlement agreement with UEFA, which means you have to generate funds. And I'm curious to see, we've got, whoa, we have so much talent, and, wheel and deal in the summer, blah, 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 amortization. I don't know. I'm going to ask you this a serious question now from Chelsea's perspective. If they have to shift a guy for a lot of money, and they always seem to manage to do this, right? I didn't think they would get all that money for Madueke, but who can they say shift who has a market where you think somebody's going to rock up and be like, oh, look, I really like that Jamie Gittins. Here's 60 million.
No,
or,
but Enzo would be the one, especially if he doesn't want to extend.
But I don't even know how much money you're going to make off Enzo because the fee was so high, right?
Yeah, true. But
so
with amortization,
it would have been with amortization, like.
So what is it? 100 million?
It was 100 million. He has an enormous contract. I'm guessing you'd be down to
70. So no, hang on, 100 2 years ago because he arrived January 2024. Is that right? Or 2023?
23, actually.
Okay, so so there's a bit more time.
All right, so you can generate 40, 50 million,
If
but then you have to
80,
replace.
Yeah, but if you sell him for 80,
okay, so you've made some money there, and then you
then
need
you're
to
right,
replace them.
Yeah, that's true.
And frankly, I know Andre Santos, stuff like that. There's not much to write home about in Chelsea's midfield unless your name is Moises.
Yeah.
PSV Eindhoven demolished Feyenoord 3-0 and are now 17 points clear in the Eredivisie. Is it 17 points? And we are recording this on, what is it, February 2nd today?
They're going to win the title by March.
Oh, gee, you think so? Oh, sorry, I said by March.
No, by March. As in, I don't think anybody has won. But remember last season they were already so dominant? Is it even more dominant this year?
It is absurd. Was it last season? Was it? Because it was
before.
Wasn't the Farioli meltdown last season?
Yes, you're right. So the season before that, when they had those they were unbeatable almost for most of them.
Just it's not surprising. No. Peter Bosch is going to get a new deal.
No, absolutely. Until 2028, he's earned it. Really, the job that he's done is pretty incredible, right?
Can we move him out of? Is it time to move him out of the category?
I think so. It's time to be nice to him.
We've given him credit, but we haven't been nice.
Yeah,
Peter, you've won us over.
Yes. You did.
You
were rubbish before, but now you're much better.
You're out of the Eric Ten Hag, Ronald Koeman, Dutch guy, Vortex.
Yeah.
Although Jules might be putting Arne Slot there soon.
And what about Robin van Persie? Because this is bad. I don't know how you recover from this. That defeat, what happened in Europe in midweek, what happened before that. It's a tough time for Robin.
They were 3-0 up inside of 20 minutes?
Yeah, I know. There was no match. Lazio beat Genoa on Friday night with a late penalty from Danilo Cataldi. But Gab, that's not what we're talking about. Them.
No, we're talking about. I love this story because it encapsulates a lot of stuff that we know about the transfer market. So Lazio defender Alessio Romagnoli, veteran defender, former Milan. Lazio want to move him on because he still makes a lot of money and stuff, and he was a free transfer, so pure profit.
Yeah.
And he's older. They get certain people, one of whom I know very well, to set up a deal to go to Qatar. And great, get the wages off the books. Romagnoli gets a fat tax-free contract.
Yeah.
Great. El Sad, I'll take one for the team for a couple of years, work on my golf game, whatever, right? So, but then Lazio wait. We said you could have him for $2 million. We want $4 million. And so El Sad is like, it's going to be difficult, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's $4 million. Did I say $4 million? I meant $6 million. Did I say $6 million? I meant $8 million. Then eventually they push it up to $10 million. Romagnoli's absolutely furious. He just wants to go. He wants a GTFO. He's done, right? In the end, Al Sadd said, okay, $10 million. But the paperwork comes over too late. The transfer window in Qatar, for weird reasons I don't understand, closed on Sunday. And now the deal's gone. Now Lazio don't have the $10 million. Yeah. They have to keep playing Romagnoli through the end of the season. Al Sadd don't have the defenders that they wanted.
He doesn't have his deal,
And Romagnoli has to sit on his backside for 6 months. Yeah. This is how dysfunctional it is when you get too greedy and think you're too smart.
Yeah.
Oh, and my friends are out of a commission, but hey,
of course, yeah.
Jeremy Boga has had a rough time at Nice.
Yeah.
What can he bring to Juventus? He hasn't played in months, yeah?
Yeah, he hasn't played since that incident with the Ultras in November, was it?
Tell us what happened for those who don't remember.
Yeah, if you remember, they had lost away in Lorient, I think it was, and when they came back to Nice and to go and collect their cars at the training ground, they were welcomed by around 400 Ultra fans who basically attacked Terem Moffi, who just left the club to go to Porto, and Boga and the sporting director, Florian Maurice, to show them discontent, I guess, about the form of the team and the performance of those players, and etc., etc. Moffi and Boga didn't want to play ever for the club. They said that they had a doctor, how do you call it,
they had a medical certificate.
Medical certificate not to go to work basically anymore. So they had to find a solution. If it's the Boga that we saw in Italy before, I think Juve as a squad player is getting somebody interesting with pace, with skills that you can use, let's say, to
one-on-one ability.
Yildiz. Yeah. When you want Yildiz, who currently is injured, but
or
Conceição to rest, but Boga is more off the left than off the right, then it could be good. But I don't know if he can come back to that level, basically.
Yeah. Low risk.
Low risk for sure. Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace draw 1-1 at the City Ground. But Gab, Palace have a new centre forward.
Yes, it's Strand Larsen. 48 million pounds. Now,
you've paid a high price.
Again, a wise man says there are no bad assets, just incorrectly priced ones. I think this one is really, really incorrectly priced. Yeah. In tall Scandinavian forward, puts himself about. And you could say, but that's what Mateta was when he first arrived, and Glasner made him better. Yeah, that's right. Glasner ain't going to be there next year to make him better. And I know I wouldn't pay 48 million for Mateta
I like Strand Larsen.
This is a ton of money.
It is a lot of money, yeah. But they've got a lot of money to spend. They sell so well, and they might get some money for Mateta.
Spend it on this guy.
The interesting thing, though,
£50 million players.
If Mateta doesn't move, what happens? You've got Mateta and Strand Larsen, and you can't play them both together.
Oh, can you imagine? How would you defend against that?
Play them together, actually. Do that, Glasner. I hope Mateta stays now.
Eintracht Frankfurt lose 3-1 to Bayer Leverkusen. Kasper Hjulman bouncing back.
Yeah.
But at least they now have a new coach.
They have. Remember Albert Yera, who used to be a decent player. He played in the Premier League as well, didn't he?
He played for Liverpool, tricky winger. I think he played for Man City before before Abu Dhabi.
Played in France, then became a coached at Bordeaux. No, that was very good. Recently at Rijeka, I think, in Croatia. And has replaced Dino Topmoller, who was obviously sacked a couple of weeks ago at Frankfurt after leaving every door and window open through the whole season for his team, who kept conceding goals and goals and goals. So let's see what Riera does at the club. But there's a good squad there. with some talented players, it just has to probably make them a little bit more solid.
All right. Odds that Thomas Frank is the new Eintracht Frankfurt manager next season after Riera
I like
screws the
this
pooch.
idea.
You like
Very
that, huh?
much so, yeah. Gab, 13 clubs in the Chinese Super League will begin the season with negative point totals after a massive match-fixing scandal.
Yeah, so Chinese football's gone pretty much off of everybody's radar,
Yeah,
except
true.
for stories like this. But it wasn't that long ago, right? When they were spending money on Oscar and Bakambu and
Fellaini.
Hulk and Marouane Fellaini and spending big on the coaches and Lippi and
Yeah.
Cannavaro and Scolari. Probably Avram Grant. I don't know if
Yeah,
Avram
I'm
Grant
sure.
went, but I'm sure, it's
sure
the
he
kind of
went.
place he would have gone. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Avram Grant, by the way, has now got a role at Juve Stabia in the second division.
Wow.
He's like some sort of technical coordinator at Castellamare
love
di
that.
Stabia, which is a sort of an exurb of Naples. Anyway, they've had one massive match-fixing scandal after the other in the last couple of years. I guess it's good that they're being investigated and
Yeah.
prosecuted, so we can say that's a real positive there. Litier, who you may remember, former Crystal Palace midfielder, national
Yeah.
team player, he's accused of pocketing something like 40 million over the years. In the end, there's 13 clubs that have been punished. In addition to all the punishments and fines for all the players, that means that I think there's 16 teams in the top flight.
Yeah.
9 of the 16 teams are going to start the season with a negative
Wow.
points battle total. To me, this just shows how quickly things can go south, even when there is money in a large population and whatever. They have to get this under control. Arsenal women are world champions, Jules.
Yes.
That's right. I support this competition.
Yeah, me too.
It's a FIFA one, the Champions of Confederations. But I'll tell you what, it wasn't easy at all against the determined Corinthians. I was shocked how close this game was.
Yeah.
I was shocked when Corinthians beat Gotham FC from NWSL. We were told that Europe and North America are so far ahead of everybody else, blah, blah, blah. So much for that. Clearly, that's not the case.
No, and Corinthians took Arsenal to extra time, which should have never happened because it was never a penalty. Vargas, a shocker there to make it 2-2, but they did in the 96 minutes. So he went to extra time, and then Arsenal was still the better team, let's be honest. And they played at home, which may be something that FIFA need to rethink for the next time round. I'm not sure how much you give an advantage to one of the teams in this competition by hosting the final in their own stadium. I mean, I loved it, and I thought the crowd was decent.
The Corinthians fans, I don't know how many there were, but every time they played them, they were going nuts in the stands. I mean, that is great television.
True, and there's a big Brazilian community, obviously, in London as well, which probably helped. But yeah, great for an Arsenal point of view. It's another trophy. It's a good one. It's financially very rewarding, as we said on Thursday. A big prize money there. So I think this worked. Again, I don't think a Club World Cup final, if you want, should be hosted in one of the stadiums of one of the two teams. But that's just me.
That's a bit odd.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Look, they obviously wanted to be able to sell it out if they could.
True.
And Spurs wasn't available.
Yeah.
I guess they could have played it at West Ham Stadium if you wanted like a larger stadium.
I think Wembley would have been a bit too big, obviously.
But it was fantastic. By the way, you say about the Brazilian community, yes, but obviously the rivalry between Brazilian clubs is such.
But you know what I mean?
I don't think a Palmeiras fan was going to be look, there's a Brazilian team,
True, but considering how big the community is, there might be a lot of Corinthians fans who live in London.
No question about it. And the goalkeeper, she's going to be okay?
Yeah, I think so.
She was down for a long time.
Gab, Cristiano Ronaldo was supposed to play with Al Nassr last night on Sunday in the Saudi Pro League, but he didn't show up.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a mystery. Fabrizio Romano, very close to Cristiano's people, reporting that he's not unwell.
No.
And it's not a technical reason.
No.
He's just not playing.
Yeah.
Some people have gone further.
Yeah.
Boga in Portugal.
Yeah.
Reporting that, he's going on strike because he's unhappy with their transfers. Well,
he's not happy.
I'll tell you what, I don't know. I will reserve judgment until it comes out. I would love the fact that Cristiano is so invested in Al Nassr winning the title that, he's unhappy with the club's transfers and wants them to spend money. Although, if he did, he probably, given the Saudi transfer window closes in a few hours, right? Closes less than 24 hours before the game. Maybe he could have gone on strike earlier, giving him a little more time to remedy it if this is what he's doing. I'm pretty sure we're going to find out because Cristiano's too big a story to ignore. And one way or another, he'll let us know.
Yeah.
Jules, this brings us to an end.
Yeah,
But we got to come back on Thursday because the transfer window will have closed.
that's right.
Lots of great moves. Some of them rumored, but we didn't talk about them today because we've seen moves fall apart.
Yeah.
And we'll have the League Cup semifinal and lots of other goodness. Until then, love the game, love your neighbor, love yourself.